Hello and welcome to another special episode of the Horror Hangout, a podcast where film fans gather together to talk about the best and worst of the horror genre. And today, for this special episode, I am joined by a couple of directors and one writer of New Fear's Eve, a comedy slasher horror film, which is doing the rounds right now. PJ Starks and Eric Huskisson. How you doing, gents?
Doing
Doing
good.
great. How are you?
Like,
Yeah, doing well, thank you. PJ, you and I have been trying to get our act together with the scheduling gods for a little while, right?
yeah, to say the least. To
Yeah,
say the
we,
least. But hey, we
we
managed to make it happen.
yeah.
And based off of your intro, hopefully we're not the latter.
No,
Hopefully we're the best, but we'll see.
that's the we were. It's the best and worst is such a wonderful, flexible term in the world of horror as well. I can tell you full well
Right.
that there is a bona fide a two-star movie on my letterbox top four for sure because
Yeah,
it's about enjoyment, not what the critics have to say around here.
absolutely.
Yeah, and horror, I think, is one of the most flexible genres for that. You can enjoy something that was made for no money and all sorts. But we'll talk about the making in a minute. Let's talk about your movie. Would PJ, if I'm going to turn to you first as the writer, let's dive in. Give me the elevator pitch. If you were meeting someone at a film festival, they got all the screens in the world to go in. Why would they choose your movie?
I mean, if you like comedy, it's got a lot of that. If you like horror, it's got that. It's got story, it's got nuance. Ultimately, it's about three best friends who all work for the same company. And unbeknownst to them, they're being hunted by this serial killer. And this is days before a mandatory New Year's Eve work party that, of course, none of them want to be at. And of course, they go to the party, and the killer follows them, and then chaos ensues. That's kind of the long and short of what the film is.
Incredible. Sold. If I hadn't already seen it, I would be diving straight in. I'd be get ready for another role. Well, I
Like I've
would be
lost
ready for
you.
another role anyway. Eric, when I turn to you for a little bit about the film's creation, um, have you guys worked together a long time? Are you long time collaborators, or is this your first time sharing a director's chair? And do you get two, or do you have to take it in turns?
This is where I think we're in our 14th year working together. In the beginning, it was more me just helping PJ out with Volumes of Blood and a couple of small projects before that. But when we became a company back in 2015, December 2015, I became a lot more involved. We became partners with Blood Moon Pictures. So we've been working together about 14 years, but the company's only been together 10. Um, actually wrote a short for our movie before New Year's Eve, 13 Slaves Till Christmas. I wrote the segment and directed it. I used the word directing loosely because PJ was behind me pointing and telling the whole time it was going. But it was my first time, so he was there helping out and being a friend and just helping collaborate and get me through it. And I took on the role of directing 13 Slaves Till um, some issues did ensue during filming with my directing because there was a lot of stuff that PJ and I there was no storyboard. I had shot list, but um, there wasn't a whole lot when he would walk away if I was afraid I was missing something he might want. I mean, because he wrote it, I know it's his vision, and we're a team, so we wanted to come out right. So it got a little confusing for a crew and cast at times. So PJ and I finally had to kind of step to the side and talk about it. And he did most of the action shots and the special effects, where I focused most on the dialogue and the acting. So that's where the co-directing came from with this.
Yeah, amazing. And this is the wonder of independent filmmaking. You guys, you make it happen. It's not, I love
Yeah.
having these conversations. We'd have a terribly boring discussion if it was like, turns out everything went really well first time. There was no strife, no difficulty. A dream, an absolute dream.
Right.
Before we talk a little bit more about New Year's Eve, let's rewind a little further back, if we may, to talk about the horror genre, how it got into you, the pair of you, to begin with. Were you are you fans of the genre before you started making films in it? PJ, I'll turn to you first on this one.
Yeah, I was a huge horror fan. I've been a horror fan ever since I was a little kid. My grandmother turned me on to Ghostbusters, which
Hmm.
most people don't consider a genre film. I do. It's definitely a horror comedy, whether people want to admit it or not. But that's the movie that kind of kicked off my love and interest for the paranormal, ghosts and ghouls and things. And then from that point going forward, it was just every possible horror film I could get my hands on and consume. And of course, I started with the smaller stuff, like most people, it was Monster Squad, The Gate. There was a lot of
Oh, The Gate, what a
entry
movie.
level. Oh yeah, entry level horror stuff. I was a big renter. I stayed the night at my grandparents. My grandmother was a huge horror fan, so we were pretty much horror movie buddies all the way up until she passed back in the end of 2020, and she was 92. And yeah, so I grew up on a steady diet of everything horror, whether it was what was critically acclaimed all the way to what you were saying, those gems that you find at the bottom shelf of the rental store. Like I would eat most of all that up. It was I really miss those days actually.
Yeah, although I'm hearing apparently the world might be healing. I don't know if it's the same over in the US. I was reading a couple of articles recently. The way that I'm going to age myself incredibly here by saying young people these days who don't binge drink as much as my generation did. Apparently, the video rental and physical media are swinging back around for the kids
Yeah,
coming up now.
yeah. I read an article the other day that talked about that. How there's boutique stores that are popping up in a lot of larger metropolitan areas, and that makes me excited. I'm a physical media collector,
I
no
can see
surprise. I've
that
I've
is a
got
fine collection behind you here.
this is nothing compared to what I've got elsewhere, but yeah, and that's the thing. Like I remember the days where you could go and you would spend 45 minutes trying to find the right one that
Hmm.
spoke to you that you wanted to watch. And it's funny because my wife will say, "Hey, why don't you go pick a movie?" And I go, "Okay." And then 45 minutes later, I'm walking back in um, and going, "Hey, how about this?" Trying to pick something that she hadn't seen before. And that's the one of the things I love about having that physical collection, because you get to have that on top of the fact that with streaming, stuff is coming off and coming on so frequently, and a lot of things are really hard to find,
Hmm.
that you know companies like Severin or Code Red and Vinegar Syndrome, they're putting out all these movies that you couldn't find for the longest time, and now we're finally getting those back to put on the shelf.
Yeah, not even like just getting them as well, but all of those companies are doing such wonderful restoration jobs as well that come
Oh
with
yeah,
the things that were like really the golden age of early DVDs where you are absolutely packed with bonus features and everything as well, right?
yeah.
It's a real treat that we're starting to get from some imprints. How about you, Eric? Where did it all begin genre-wise for you? Have you got a relative to thank for things, or is it PJ that brought you on board?
He looks.
Oh, Eric, if we have you, you may be muted.
Yeah, I can see his little icon is muted.
Oh, let me see. Right, in case having some technical troubles, Eric, we can give us a sign of life if you're able to join us, but otherwise, for now.
I'm here.
Oh, he's back.
Yes. Yeah, sorry about that. I don't know what happened. I exactly the same thing basically as PJ. I mean, I had a family member when I was young. Um, and I don't remember really how it started, where I was like, my dad maybe had caught me watching horror movies. Like I'd get up in the middle of the night. I don't know what it was, but he finally started at a very young age staying up with me late on Friday and Saturday nights during all the horror host shows back in the day. Where they were showing old classics like The Fly and Frankenstein and any of the old ones like that. And I was just fascinated with the special effects. Couldn't get enough of it. I was just fascinated how they made it look so real. So he supported me along the way with you know, me getting to watch horror and being into horror, and I kind of dabbled in special effects as a kid. I'd carry a cigar box around full of different types of makeup and waxes and stuff, and would make friends of mine's, you know, fingers, hands, whatever, look like something had happened. They go freak out their parents or stuff. So I mean, I've been a horror fan back from the day, but it was basically based off special effects. Never lost the fandom, but when I got to about the age of 12, when I saw Halloween for the first time, hook, line, and sinker, and I've been a horror fan ever since. I mean, at an early age, but that movie right there is what took me over the top.
And this links very nicely, I guess, to New Year's Eve, the film itself. Like slashers obviously hold a special place in both of your hearts. Was it always a dream when you started making films that it was going to be very particularly the subgenre of slasher movies that you were going to get into?
I mean, for me personally, yes. If you look at any of our previous films, especially the Volumes of Blood movies, there's a through line segment in both of those films that are very slasher heavy. And even then, the thing about slashers is it's like what horror fans crave with those films. Well, I guess unless you're watching it for the boobs, it's the kill scenes, right? So it's like it's the money shot, the gore. And I'm very much a gore hound. So those films were pretty heavy in gore, and there's a lot of slasher elements to them. The slasher subgenre has always been my favorite. I've always watched as many slasher films as I could. I'm still like scour, uh, online and places where you can purchase movies like different slasher films that I never got the chance to see, and I have a chance now to watch them. But ultimately, yeah, it's like that was for me the goal was I always wanted to create a slasher film and a villain that had like my voice and my uh, I guess sense of wonderment for the horror genre and the love for it and stuff, and make it a love letter. And that's and then very similarly to what you see with a lot of horror films, there's a lot of references, which I do that in all the other films too. But in the script, I always pepper the scripts pretty with a pretty healthy dose of homage to other horror films, which goes all the way back to Fred Decker did it in Night of the Creeps. So it's not a new thing, but it's definitely like my way of tipping the hat to the filmmakers that have influenced me.
You got to wear it on your sleeve sometimes, haven't
Oh
you?
yeah.
But we've talked slashers. We're going to get into there's so many directions I want to take with both of you here. But for now, let's talk about our killer in New Year's Eve here. Your sort of plague doctor masked killer that you've got here. A really nice, unique, memorable silhouette. I think is so essential for an ongoing slasher film. You've certainly got quite an iconic look here. Where did that come from when you started designing the film?
I mean, thank you for saying that. It kind of came out of the pandemic around the time. So the pandemic wasn't like in full blown, but it was kind of the tail end, but it was still very much in the zeitgeist and a part of pop culture, especially people posting about the plague doctor, putting that out, images of that out there. Eric and I would go to horror cons, and somebody would inevitably be dressed doctor. So when I was fleshing out the concept and story and everything for New Year's Eve, I started thinking about what would be a cool and stylized look for a killer, and that could ultimately wind up also kind of being his MO. And then I started thinking about the plague doctor, and it hit me that no one's ever really gone all in as far as making a plague doctor the centralized look and method for killing in a slasher film. I mean, the mask has been used in horror films, that's been done, but not like actual the killer itself being a plague doctor. So that's kind of where the concept came from. And then, of course, we got all the information to a friend of ours named BJ Emick, who then did illustrations. And then we would give notes and say, well, do this, change this, And there was a little bit of description in the script, but not a whole lot. As far as it would just say the doctor, and but I knew it had to be a plague doctor, but it also needed to look like something that somebody maybe they made at their home, not they
Mhm.
went out and purchased it. And then once we got it just right, took that and we gave it to a mask maker that's out of Louisville, Kentucky, here in the state where we live, and he made a like a demo version. And then once we approved that, he went forward and created the mask based off the illustrations. And of course, the rest of it, we had some wardrobe people and stuff to put it together. But it's funny that you say an iconic silhouette, because the Doctor in the movie is a hybrid of Jack the Ripper and the Plague Doctor.
Mhm.
I'm real big on true crime, and Jack the Ripper has always fascinated me, that story. So once again, it's like, what's one of the most iconic serial killer silhouettes? And you've got Jack the Ripper. So you married the two together, and there's the Doctor.
And then with some of the Doctor's antics, I don't want to spoil anything in the film, but let's say that you don't hold back on the gore effects for some of the kills here.
Right.
We go over the top and then a few steps higher as we go for some of these kills and some wonderful practical work in there as well. Eric, given the history you just told us, I imagine you were in heaven looking at these things, right?
Yeah, I just like PJ, the practical effects is where we like to be. I'm no offense to the CGI people that use CGI. I mean, there is CGI in our film, one little shot. Spoiler for anybody, but I when you can look at when you're sitting there filming something and it doesn't look all that much, but by the time it gets colored, the sounds added, and then you see it on screen, it just, man, it just, you can't do anything but smile. I mean, just for example, with the one kill that we had, it was I guess we can do spoilers on here. I'm not sure what we're saying or not, but there is one in here where a woman is getting her head smashed against a door. And when I first saw the video, I was like, PJ, that just looks like somebody's got a doll head and it's just swinging against the door. And but by the time the colorization was done and the sound was added to it, it looks phenomenal. So it's amazing how all the different pieces come together to do that. But the practical effects in this film, and PJ did such a great job with his creativity in a lot of the kills. It's amazing the people that we brought in, Stephen Hotkey and Izza and Blaze, that all came in, and what they did in the short amount of time they had and the equipment they had to make this film looks like it did is amazing. So yeah, I was super excited when I saw the finished film of how the effects looked.
The one that really sticks in my mind, and again, we'll be gentle on this as well as hang on, the dog is just joining me here. Get down, you. Go on. This is mine back from her walk, and now it's my attention that she wants, having not taken her out.
Right.
Back to it, there was the scene that I was really taken with. I think I even text my co-host and said, "Oh, they're not messing around with this one." There is a scene in a bathroom cubicle, a stall there.
Yes.
That's quite something. That's
Yeah.
that's one of the moments. Is like, yeah, they're not holding back with this one, this creation here. The other element that, of course, we must touch on with this, even in our limited time together today, slasher fans seeking out some of the maybe some of the overlooked gems of the subgenre. As soon as you see Felissa Rose turning up in a film, I must know I'm dealing with a couple of Sleepaway Camp fans, right?
Oh
How
yeah.
how
Oh
was it
yeah.
working with her?
Just a
She
genuine sweetheart, man. It is
yeah.
as many times as go ahead.
No, no, you're good. You beat me.
I just said she's just a genuine sweetheart. I mean, it's just plain and simple. I mean, she came in and it was kind of a different role for her, and she couldn't wait to play it. Most of her stuff is more serious, with this being more her role, her character being a little bit of a more of a dingier type of a personality. But I
Mhm.
mean, the lady is just a gem on set. soon as you holler action, she's in character, does her job. You holler, cut, and she's just like, okay, what's next? I mean, it's and you see her at cons and festivals, and she's the same personality. She doesn't have a dislike for anything or anybody. She's just so happy to be involved in everything, and it was amazing having her on set. I mean, we only had her on set for a weekend, but her and the other actors we brought in that weekend, they were so dynamic to everything that we did. Just working with them that weekend is unforgettable to what they brought to the table for us.
I mean, with current news, do you two gents get an assist nod on this one? Obviously, you're dealing with horror comedy in New Year's Eve. The news this week would suggest that Felissa is appearing in the new Scary Movie shortly.
Yep, yep.
Yeah, yeah.
She's
Who-
actually she's you can actually be seen in the trailer.
Oh, really? I didn't catch her in the trailer. I'm going to have to
Yeah,
go back
yeah,
and
you have
revisit.
you have to she's standing behind a couple of people, but you see her.
Yeah, what's funny was, I mean, it's for some people, and this isn't going to ruin anything, but um, there's a dildo kill in our film, the kildo, and if you watch the Scary Movie trailer, there's a scene where Anna Faris is using two dildos as nunchucks and then like stabs Ghostface in the ass. But it's funny because I've had probably a dozen people text me or say something like, dude, Scary Movie robbed you guys of that. And I don't necessarily agree with that because what they did is totally different than what we
Right.
did. If anything, I think what we did is far more epic than what you see in the trailer for Scary Movie 6. But we don't see the whole thing yet, so we'll see what they do. But I did text Felissa the other day because Dave also is in Scary Movie 6 and reprises his role as Special Officer Doofy. And I texted her the other day and I said, so who do we have to thank, you or Dave, for giving them the idea to use dildos in their movie? And she was like, no, it was totally the Wayans brothers. It was all them. They came up with it. And I was just giving her a hard time. But yeah, it's been funny how many people have reached out because of that part in their trailer, and they immediately think of our movie because of that.
We can call parallel thinking all we like, but I think in my heart forevermore, I would imagine that the brothers will have sat down there to watch a bit of a slasher comedy and thought, who's got some good comedic chops on this? Get me Felicia's number. Get me her number. Let's get her involved here. I think you should get on board. Get an executive producer credit at least. Come on.
I
That would
just
be cool, but
Yes, it
I
would.
highly doubt they'll be that open to it. But everything Eric said about Felissa is 100% correct. She's an incredible person. She's very genuine. I've been fortunate to I got to work with her on set on one other film. I'm producing a few other films that she's a part of, but her and I got to hang out. And really, the one thing we didn't get to do on New Year's Eve with neither Eric or I got to really like sit down and talk to her because it was so run and gun the weekend that she was in. But on the set for the last sleepover that she's in, her and I sat down and we just sat there for like an hour and a half and talked. And she's so cool and so genuine and so down to earth. The way you see her on video is exactly who she is when the camera's turned off. She has this infectious energy that she exudes that everybody picks up on. And uh, if somehow I mean, if we do a sequel, it is going to be difficult. Spoiler alert for her to be in it, but I would say moving forward on any other projects that potentially could have a role for Felicity, we're definitely going to take the opportunity to have her be a part of it if we can.
Yeah, bring her back as a sister. We've done it in bigger movies. Bring her back as anybody. I mean,
There's a lot of people who want to be twins or have twins for the sequel.
Yeah,
We've
yeah,
gotten that quite a bit.
yeah.
spoilers for a much older movie, everybody. But I've seen her come back as a disguised policeman with a vocal cord stimulator in a previous sleepaway camp movie. She can pull it off. She's got the range.
That's true. That is true.
So you mentioned in your film history together that you have a Christmas movie under your belt. This is New Year's movie. Are we working our way through the calendar together? What holidays would you like to tackle?
I don't.
Well,
That was not by design, but I will
no,
give Eric the credit.
the PJ does it a lot more than I do, but I mean, he's constantly doing it. We were on the set of 13 Slaves. It was the film that we did before New Year's Eve, and he comes to me on set and he's like, "Hey man, I was driving along. I came up with the idea of this new movie, and the title of it's New Year's Eve." And I'm not sure if he gave me a quick synopsis of what he thought it might be, but I just remember being stressed out and trying to get 13 Slaves done. And I just remember going, dude, can we just get this blanking film done before you start throwing another one at me? And then, of course, then I have to eat crow and stick my foot, insert foot sign was on because later on, 13 Slaves actually did really well. And I went to PJ and I'm like, look, man, I think we need to pull your idea for New Year's Eve off the shelf since this was a Christmas movie. It just makes sense. It did well. We go to the New Year, the next holiday, which is New Year. So, but I'm glad we did. And I'm glad he agreed because New Year's Eve has done really well, we think. So, but
Incredible.
yeah.
So I'll see you in a couple of years with the Beaster Bunny, right?
Yeah, there you go. Hey, there you go. We're gonna write that down.
Maybe.
That is my
I think
gift to
there is a
you.
movie called Beaster Day out there somewhere. There's that's the thing. There's so many movies being made all the time now, uh, it, especially in the indie sector that it is getting tougher and tougher to come up with an idea that's, I would say, wholly original. I mean, it was tough already because a lot of times because that's the thing. Like when I first came up with the idea of doing the Plague Doctor, I told Eric, I was like, nobody's ever used the Plague Doctor ever in any movie. And then the more we started going along and I was doing even deeper research, I'm like, oh shit, actually, no. There are Plague Doctor movies out there, but they're usually used as like, they represent something in the sense of like impending death to some. So it's like somebody's having a vision or whatever. It's never like been a slasher villain. So thankfully we have cornered the market there to a degree, but yeah, it's um, however, there is a movie that I'm sure you're probably familiar with. It's called Doctor Plague.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen it, but I've heard the title.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
we finished our movie about a year before that one came out, and we had already been pushing our movie about 2.5 years before they started production on that movie.
Okay.
And somebody sent me the poster and were like, dude, somebody's literally taking your idea and making their own movie. Because if you look at the original poster for Dr. Plague, the the outfit and everything looks almost identical to what we had already put out there as the Doctor. Um, which I mean, obviously you can't prove that. And like you said earlier, it's one of those things where you come up with an idea, somebody else comes up with an idea. There's crossover. It happens all the
Yeah.
time.
The real Deep
Um,
Impact Armageddon situation.
right, right. But then when the trailer came out, I felt a lot better about it because if you watch the trailer, while the outfit is similar in look, even with the lighted eyes and everything, the concept and the story are completely different from what we did. So that did make me feel a lot better because at least even though there's the look of the killer or killers is similar, everything else is kind of original and stands apart. So I was at least happy about that.
Yeah. Well, like you say, there's plenty of room at the horror table, I think, for
Absolutely,
all
yeah.
these ideas. I wanted to touch very briefly, if we can, on the comedy side of it. PJ, I know you were the writer behind this one. How long did you suffer in a corporate job for yourself to get all this inspiration?
I mean, really, I mean, I've worked in a law firm for 10 years now. I wouldn't really say that was necessarily the inspiration. I think just working at a job in general, because
Mhm.
I've worked in retail, I've worked in an office setting, I've worked in food, and the one thing I worked in a factory, and it's like the environments, while they may not be exactly the same, you do deal with a lot of the same kind of inter office politics and
Hmm.
things that happen. And once again, it's like the people that apply for a job, everybody's so different, from beliefs to sense of humor to just family dynamics to personalities. Some people are introverts, some people are extroverts. So it's like I tried to take all the really interesting archetypes that you find working in any kind of job, and then in some ways kind of take that times 10, like you get with Mr. Dugan. Um, so it's got a mix of like people you really like, people, the types of people in the workplace you really hate, and then really as far as like the comedy goes, I'm very much a dick and fart joke, lowbrow, punch down kind of humorist, I guess you could say. I think punching up can be is good. I think I call myself a oh shit, now I'm brain farting on there's the fart again. But an equal opportunity offender. It's not necessarily about offending people. It's just about taking something that is very serious and just turning it on its head and making light of it in the best way possible. Because I see so many people who are constantly offended, constantly angry, constantly wanting to argue, and I just couldn't imagine how miserable that must be. And I think anything under the right circumstances, you can make fun of it. I've because I've dealt with a lot of trauma, from watching my mom suffer and die of cancer. I raised a son with mental health disorders. I mean, just it, the different types of things that most people would shut down on. I've ran that gamut. And the best way that I've found to make it through is to laugh about it, is to make jokes and make light of it, because bad things are that's just part of life. And you can shut down and cry and go into a dark room and be mad at the world and mad at other people who can make light of it all you want, but that's not going to make it better. That's not going to change things. So I've found that laughing at stuff is far more therapeutic than being angry about it.
A very good philosophy, and obviously from the horror sense as well. Lloyd Kaufman built a studio with that philosophy, and a
Absolutely.
great
Yeah.
long career of it as well. So you're
Yeah.
in good company there. The two most important questions I have for you both in our last few minutes together, for I know you have another couple of recordings lined up today, but so most importantly, where can people, if they are so inclined, check out the movie, or where should they watch for future releases if it isn't out everywhere just yet?
Well, right now, there's still a couple of items, or on Screambox. If people don't have Screambox, they are, through the 11th of April, I believe. You can do there's a 30-day free trial, and then there's also another different one, which is a week free trial if they wanted to get on and do that. And then you can also see it on Prime. You can see it on Plex, Fandango at Home, Google Play, Roku TV. Those are the main ones right now. We know that they're on. Um, Hopefully, we'll have a link on our website soon where they can go to our website and click on any of the posters, and it'll take them to any kind of reviews or trailers or links to where the movies are playing where you can stream.
Amazing. Solid distribution list as well. Nice and broadly available for everyone.
Real quick, I want to throw this out there though. It's currently only available in North America.
Yes.
However, we just got the contract for international distribution. So hopefully within the next week, we'll have that signed, and then we'll start getting it into onto platforms in other territories.
Worldwide. Well, according last time I looked at the stats, around 50% of our audience is in North America. So you've hit about half of them. Everyone else, we will share that news when you give us the thumbs up and tell us it's gone live internationally as well, and we'll get it out to everybody
Cool.
else as well.
Cool. Thank
Um,
you.
finally, the most important question. I promised you no really hard questions, but now here's the real pressured one. Obviously, the two of you are making, writing, directing horror movies. You've shared your history in horror as well. So now the pressure's really on. We do a show called The Horror Hangout here. I couldn't have you on and not ask you to set up your very own. So here's your situation. Both of you individually, your friends and family have come up to you and said, Hey, Eric, PJ, you're horror guys. We're coming round to yours for a movie night, a horror movie night. What are you putting on for them? As you're a pair and you're working together, you're going to joint host it, mixed crowd. So like mixed crowd are coming over. Obviously, there's two of you. You can have a double feature. What are you putting on for your guests?
PJ, should I do the one that I've been trying to get you all over to watch as one of them, and you can pick the other?
That went through my mind when he was saying all that.
Oh God,
If you want.
God, hold on, give me a second, man. I just completely it went out of my head. Holy crap!
The
There's
name of the
one
movie?
movie. Yeah, PJ has never seen it, and it's not like necessarily a go-to movie of mine, but I watched it one time and I just think it's hilarious. I think it's it's just one of those movies that you have to watch to appreciate. And PJ has never seen it, but we were at a con and he ran into where they had the film and the guy that directed it was there. And he got the guy to sign it for me and gave it to me as a gift. And yet he has never seen it, and neither has his wife. And it's golly, I was trying to think of it while I was
I know what
talking.
it is. Do you want me to say it?
Oh God, Hooker.
Yes.
Yeah.
Frankenhooker.
Frankenhooker.
You have a signed
Golly.
copy of Frankenhooker.
Yes.
Incredible, PJ. Take him up on his
Yeah.
offer. Go and watch it immediately.
Well, what's funny I'm the one who found the signed copy. And
Right.
he'd been telling me about it forever, and I saw it at a con, and I bought it for him as a gift, and he's had it forever, and um, he we still haven't watched. I've never seen it. It's
Oh,
one of those
Which
ones
is,
that's like I remember seeing it on the shelf at the rental stores, but I think that would have usually it was my grandparents renting me the movies. So if I was gonna rent something that had like anything that Hooker or I mean it had to be almost indiscernible from something like Frankenhooker because oh man, there was this movie that was basically softcore porn, and I'm pretty sure it was put out by Full Moon Features, but it looked just like a regular sci-fi movie, like Trancers or something like that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It was like, and brain, I can't think of what the title of it is now, but it was like Interactive Desires. It was kind of like something to that, but not as on the nose. And I remember I rented it once just because I wasn't really sure what it was, and that got me through the weekend. And then I re-rented it a few other times after that. But yeah, Frankenhooker's one I always remembered seeing, but I never rented it or wasn't
Oh,
able to.
Frankenhooker to me is just one of those movies that it's reanimator-ish in a
yeah,
sense. Uh, and of course, the further it goes along, it gets a little bit more Frankenhooker-ish.
yeah.
So
We've done a whole
it's
episode
got
on
some
Frankenhooker.
Reanimator. I think maybe is it Bride of Reanimator? I think, or it could I don't remember which one, but
There is
there's
a Bride
some.
of Reanimator.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
there's some scenes. It's like holy crap. But yeah, but Frankenhooker is just one of those what you call a guilty pleasure.
Frankenhooker, I am not guilty at all. Refuse Films just did a special re-release of it. Liam
Oh,
Regan helped put it together, and it pre-ordered it. It is on my shelf behind me just now. I don't have a signed one. That's very impressive. But
it just amazes me that as many movies as I know PJ has seen, and he's way into his adult years, younger than me, but and he still hasn't seen it. We've been talking for what 3 4 years, PJ, about him and his wife coming over for pizza night, knowing that him and I are going to watch it, and the girls are going to start talking and never
Oh
watch
yeah.
it. But
Yeah.
we've never done it yet.
oh, you should PJ take him up on this. Take him on this offer for a
I'm
film
gonna do it.
for a film so wrought with jibbed body parts all over the place and the excess of gore that you'll find here. Actually, some fairly sex work positive messages behind all of that stuff. Has no business being like actually that well thought out, but it's a tremendous film. It's a tremendously trashy film, but it is wonderful. Go and watch it.
Oh
So,
yeah.
BJ, what about
Oh
you?
yeah.
What's your choice in your double bill here to go head to head with Frankenhooker here?
And this is a tough question. It's funny because I rewatch a lot of the same horror movies over and over. And it's and so oh, it's weird that I'm wearing this shirt because this was not the plan. Because I had other ones that like I've been sitting here going through, like, well, maybe this one, maybe this one, maybe this one. But more than likely, I'm going to put a slasher film on, and I
Fair.
probably would go with My Bloody Valentine, and it's up there in like my top five favorite slashers, and a lot of it has to do with the fact that it's in a lot of ways it's your atypical slasher film. It has a lot of the same tropes that so many others do, but what really sets it apart is it's not college kids, it's not teenagers in high school, it's blue collar working man who's just trying to get by, and they happen to be in this area where there's an urban legend, and it's a great whodunit, um, where you're trying to figure out, is it Harry Warden? Could it be somebody else? And it's funny because it's one of those ones that because I rewatched Hell Night, Chud, Shockwaves, The Prowler. I watch a lot of these over and over again. It's kind of like comfort food when I lay down at night to go to sleep. It helps me go to sleep. And it seems like every night that I go to put something in, Leslie, that's my wife, she's like, "Oh God, you're not watching Chud again, are you?" And if I put in My Bloody Valentine, she's like, "Ooh," because she really likes My Bloody Valentine, which surprises me because she doesn't hate horror films, but she really gets scared very easily. Like she'll jump at Disney movies if something, like a bird, like an animated bird flies out or something. So she gets really scared, and so it's she will watch horror films, but it's not her go-to because of how much she gets scared and how deeply she gets terrified. But she really genuinely enjoys My Bloody Valentine because of what the story is, and there's that romance
Yeah.
that's going on throughout and everything. So that would probably be the one that I think it's serious enough to catch the average person's attention the way the narrative plays out, but it's cheesy enough, and especially the uncut version is gory enough to where it's like it's gonna satisfy the horror fan as well. So I
Yeah.
would go with My Bloody Valentine.
Great choices. And yeah, a pretty good double feature you've put together there. So I expect when you put this night together, if I'm in the town, if I'm visiting, you say you're in Kentucky, if I'm in the area, let me know. I'll
There you
call
go.
in.
It's just a hop, skip, and a jump away from you. So
Yeah, of
All right.
course. Yeah, I guess the US a couple of times a year. I'll let you know when I'm around.
perfect. Well,
Amazing. Well, I know you have another recording to do, so I will bid you both farewell from here. Everyone, you heard that list earlier on. New Fizz Eve is available to stream and scream in lots of locations in North America already. The rest of the world in fairly short order. All that remains for me to do is to thank both PJ and Eric for joining me. Thank our old mates at Acast for hosting the show. Thank your boy Taj Easton for writing our music. And most of all, thanks to all you for listening. Until next time, bye everybody. Bye.
Bye. Thanks for
yeah,
having
thank
us.
you.